Yes.
There we go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to, we think it's our 10th episode of Kate and Natasha, ADP therapy in the time of the coronavirus.
Whew.
Yeah, many weeks in. I'm Natasha Pren.
And I'm Kate Halliday. It's so good to see everybody.
Yes,
Good to see you, Natasha.
Yes, good to see you too, Kate. How are you this afternoon?
Today, good day. It's really moist and soft outside. And yeah, I'm feeling today is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's up and down. That's life these days.
Yes, me too. Up and down. Up right now just because it's so nice to see you, and it's actually so lovely to be connecting with people that are telling us that they're watching and now binge watching, which is just the most fantastic, dazzling, disorienting thought. I wonder how we are on repeat. I said, Kate, we need to go back through and see that we're not just repeating ourselves.
Right. Oh, goodness. But yeah, repetition is not a bad way to teach, as we know, so it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Yes. We could end up being like those old ladies who have the same 3 stories they tell again and again, but I think we're all right.
I think we're all right so far. So we talked before we came online that we wanted to make sure we slowed down a bit today. We were aware that we were full of portrayal ideas in our previous episode, and that so we sort of said, let's slow this down and really break down how to do portrayals, why we do portrayals. And so if you're sitting comfortably, I'll do it this time. And do make sure that you are, because I know I'm sitting a little wiggly. Then we'll begin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kate, do you want to start, or do you want me to start? What do you think?
Well, I think I can just give us the title, which is how we thought we would approach it today, is thinking about why do we do portrayals? What's the purpose of them?
Yes.
And then how do we decide about when to do them? There was a question on the listserv this morning about how do I know when to do a portrayal, which somebody, yes. and so we were chatting about that a little bit. Yes. So I love your introduction to portrayals, Natasha. Would you do it, please?
Oh, well, I don't know that I have one prepared, but I just love the question, when do you do a portrayal and how do you know to do a portrayal? And just for you to know, jumping into portrayals, I do them all the time.
Yeah.
I do what I call mini portrayals all the time. If somebody makes a fist as they're talking about somebody, I'll use my moment-to-moment tracking and I'll say, oh, you make a fist. You know, what would your fist want to say to your boss? And, or anything that has oomph, you know, you're always looking for what we call an ADP, an entry point, somewhere where you can dive in, notice and seize something. And so if somebody says, you know, I'm just so mad at my boss, of course, do one then. So if your boss was here right now with us, imagine her, what would you say to her? And the reason we do a portrayal is because I sometimes joke that it's not only because they're good fun and something really nice to do. They nearly always deepen feeling, right?
Yeah.
Put a lot of words on that. Let yourself feel fully towards your boss. But it also gives us the history of that charge, right? The dynamics. How come your boss, right? If you go into a portrayal, Kate's going to jump in with what we say about history, right?
Yeah, I was thinking about that when we were talking before, that we don't, as ADP clinicians, we actually say we don't take histories, clinical histories of people, but we do see history surface actively in our conversations with people all the time. And a portrayal is a really juicy way, of going for a juicy moment in the session, as Natasha says, seizing that moment and saying, let's enter here. And as we do that, as the person's talking in imagination to someone in the here and now, for example, very often what surfaces from the bottom up is the old, deeply held experience in the body and the heart of having had these feelings long ago. And then as we explore more, the repair starts happening. So it's very exciting.
Right. And so it's emergent, right? Very often people say, you know, boss, you do this, boss, you do that, you never see me, you prefer my colleagues. And then they go, oh, very often people have that moment where they go, oh, this is exactly like my mother, my father, my caregiver, my older sibling, my first grade teacher.
Yes.
I'm never this, you always that, right? We get to the history emerges. And I say, whenever I guess, I'm always wrong. It's so much better to do a mini portrayal and say, just put a lot of words on that. What would you say to your mom if she was here with us right now?
Mm-hmm.
What do you call her? And you know, if somebody has a language of origin that's not English, I say, just what do you call her in Czech or in Polish or in whatever language it is? And I'll say, just, honestly, trust me, I don't need to fully understand, and I know I will understand. Just directly express her.
And in fact, Natasha, that's something that I've discovered, that sometimes some people are so constricted by the performance or being witnessed doing something very tender, that I will say to them, don't even say it out loud. It's not for me. It's for you to have the experience. So do it inside your imagination. And if you want to let me know about it later, that's magnificent. But it's not for me. And very often people then are freed to have the affective experience inside their imaginations and throw the chair across the room, whatever it is they need to do in thinking about their boss. But it's not for our benefit. It's not to, although it often does benefit us.
Right. So I love that you can say, so if your boss, let's say, was here right now, what would you want to say to him or her? Can you imagine that? And then nearly always ask permission. Would it be okay if we, just for a minute or two, and I'll watch the time, just for 1 minute and I'll watch the time, that you express yourself fully, either in action or in words. And I always say, this isn't a rehearsal for action. We won't actually do this. This is an imaginary exercise for you to know how you really feel, and for me to know that too, if that's okay. So ask permission. Once they start, you say you're doing great. You affirm, affirm, affirm. Give a time limit. Say you'll watch the clock, and then you have to say you've done a minute. Would it be okay if you did another minute? Mm-hmm. Right? And then people very often say some version of, oh, I hate doing these, but they do them anyway, either inside or they'll say it out loud. And even sometimes saying mother or mama or whatever it is brings up a lot for people.
Yes. And in fact, one of the things that early learners of ADP often express is a sort of diffidence around inviting people to do portrayals, because it's even a slight bit of pushback makes people feel like, oh, I can't ask someone to do something uncomfortable.
Yes.
But that's where us in the role of ADP clinician, being the older, wiser, stronger, because we know it works. So just saying, give me 1 minute, just do it with me for 1 minute.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And sometimes I say, do you want me to go first? I'm so angry hearing about what your boss did to you. But yes, there may be dynamic material, but there's also, that's real. That's really not okay. That was a boundary crossing. And what would you say to her? And I'm happy to go first. Boss, you're really making me angry. That's obnoxious behavior, you know? And then
even if the person won't go further into being angry at the boss, you've got some material, because you can say, what's it like for you to see me be so mad on your behalf? And then you're off to something else. So nothing is wasted.
I love that. Nothing is wasted. And if somebody doesn't want to, oh, well, there'll be plenty of opportunities to do a mini portrayal, you know?
And that's the other thing I wanted to really be sure we say is, don't get discouraged if it doesn't go the way it does in people's transcripts when they write up excellent cases. Just, we do them all the time, mini, big, dramatic, not dramatic. Just give it a try. Keep trying.
Yes. Would you be willing, here with me, just for a minute, to try? To start.
And then as Natasha said, affirm, say, wow, good for you. You're doing so well. Keep at it. I love that you got really angry. I love it that you're letting me see how much this hurt.
Right.
So that they know that we're right there with them moment to moment.
Right. That's right. So do little mini ones. Don't get wed to any one thing, because you're going to have plenty of opportunities. Our clients give us, thank you to them, so many opportunities. And don't get too, don't sweat it. Just try little mini ones, you know. It doesn't have to be a full blown, you know, that I think sometimes we we read or we talk about very extensive portrayals, just little mini, and you know, we say it isn't a rehearsal for action, but it builds emotional repertoire. You know, if you can say it, capacity, thank you. Yes, that's a much better word. Yes. And so sometimes I say, you know, it isn't a rehearsal for action, but it also kind of is. And this will grow your capacity. And if you say, would you like to try that? People nearly always say yes, because that's one of the reasons people come into therapy is
they want to change.
They do, yes.
And also, I've actually come to believe that portrayals is one of the massive repairs for codependence, if we want to think about that, because it really does teach new relational skills with the people we very often have the most trouble in relationship with. So I have a challenge for everyone. This week, try doing portrayals in every session you do. Just give it a try.
Yeah, give it a try. Right?
Make it fun.
Right, right. I'm so sad that I'm not going to do blah, blah, blah. What would you say to that person? Or, you know, I just read listened to a beautiful poem saying, I forgive you, New York, you know. You miss New York. What would you say to New York? You know? Yeah. You're saying, you know, you haven't seen your apartment or your dog or your, I don't know.
Right.
You can do lots of mini ones, and it's a way to deepen. So yes, I love that. Try one in as many sessions as you can. I'm not going to say everyone, but
all right, that was me.
Right. What was it like, everyone, to do this together with us? We're going to keep these short and sweet. This is Portrayals Mark 2 or 3. I think we've done a bunch, but what was it like? Noticing your bodies, right? Yeah.
Really feeling how imagination can get sparked.
Yes. And thank you for slowing me down, Kate. I could just feel the teacher, like wanting to teach one more thing. Like,
oh, good, you didn't.
Yes.
Yeah. So just seeing us together, seeing you. Thank you again, everybody, for watching and being part of this growing community. Feels really good.
It feels really good. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Natasha.
We'll see you towards the end of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.